need to increase that. Yeah, yeah, you need to do it. Yeah.
But it's supposed to be very beautiful.
Oh, we see honest, I guess.
It looks beautiful.
You're gonna have to like, you're gonna have, when you go to, if you go to like,
That's photos? Good deal.
okay, so what you need to do is, you need to go, so, second time.
Oh, yeah.
You need to go, you need to like kneel down over there.
For everyone on Zoom and watching on YouTube, we're still waiting for the joint meeting with the City Commission to complete, but hopefully Speaker Cuesta will be here shortly to start the meeting.
Girly Pop just started without a, just clean it. Do we have a quorum?
Negative.
Yeah, darn.
We can't even start.
We could.
Oh, we could.
We could,
Do it, we should do it. I really.
What if we,
I did send Carson a text that I was about to get from them, so.
what if we start?
I really would like to get through first open period and then have Carson get here,
Do it.
just to see the look on his face.
Honestly, let's stand for the flag. Let's stand for the
Let's
flag.
go.
They're doing their opening questioning now, so they'll be done in like, unless.
They are wrapping it up down there.
And they really were trying, when I walked by, Alexa was like, I gotta get disconnected, so we're gonna try to do this quick. She'll start like that.
No, I think.
Surely we have never wasted 15 minutes of time over anyone.
You didn't get made fun of. We told nothing but truth.
It's very fashionable.
I'm just saying.
But yeah.
That bit got really old after the first time. Like, I don't think, did I continue those
I
jokes?
will see that I.
Joseph, did I continue those jokes after the first
History will
time?
vouch for me.
Cause I think the bit got old.
That's true. You have to roll.
See, that's my bit.
Oh, now you're claiming the list.
We should go.
Okay.
I said that.
It does, yeah. You just trim the layers and then it looks more, it looks less.
The only thing you're missing is like shaving half.
You don't need.
I think I might.
Modern lesbians don't.
I think it would look.
No, I feel like, and if you do like the Cheeto thing. Oh, and I love it.
My hair is part of me.
Half my friends are
Listen,
Muslims,
you
and I
can-
don't have to be. The other half
My
are
hair
my
is
friends. Doesn't sound like a thing for a show.
Why are you so earnest about?
And I was like,
I look like I was.
you gotta let the community feel like
I was like, so. But like, what did you look like? Did you look like?
I'm also like not, but I kind of want to. Yeah, well, I do like no, yeah, because your ring is not like, like, it's like the open-ended rings that are like. They. So. And now it's like nothing.
Yeah. No,
Everybody's done that. I keep turning around.
I would just did. No, if we cast like.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. Yeah, I got an extra long one.
Like during.
Very short.
Oh,
Okay, well, we have a lot of them.
I thought it was like I can make it like not that wide.
Yes.
Every 20 minutes.
Okay, that's why I.
What? I guess not.
Oh, wait. Also, for like the first two.
She asked if I could be a proxy.
Wow, for like first 2 weeks. Like it's like two people. Yeah. Unless, yeah, unless you like. You're not like, or you're
You
not.
gotta make sure you guys see.
Yeah. I was like,
Come on, Brian, you gotta do it.
You have to be a young, I think you. Yes,
Alexa, do it.
No, I know. I'll start it. Yeah, just so that I'm down. Hi. So like, okay, this is that is so left. So left. This message is giving me. Freedoms to make your own choices.
Alexa's got it. You can do it now.
So much I have extra hair. I have Thursday. His name is okay. Yeah. 45 points.
Thursdays depends on what I'm doing. Actually, I'm taking a whole class. Sometimes I'm tired. Rachel's writing off for other groups. It's still going on. Hopefully, it's like in like 10-15 minutes. It'll be done. Don't ask me. I'm just here. You want me to start?
Do it. You need to start.
You've already started? I genuinely don't know how. Dude, I don't know.
He's just like, no, it's too big.
Do you want Are we getting going,
Okay, we're not starting yet, but we should be in like 5 minutes. And if he's not here in 5 minutes, I'm gonna start the meeting.
Oh crap.
So you can start a timer, and then I will.
We've already waited 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Charge
Not that I. You are now. So, Mayola asked, what's your name? The proxy for him, but right, it's not yet, right? Yeah.
Keep it there.
Zooming close.
Say or.
Yeah.
Hey, what? Can you call the meeting of the ag caucus?
Well, I guess I
Just tell them they're having one right now.
Well, if they don't have a quorum, doesn't matter. Was there 5? You can't remember. You're gonna update it.
Wait, it's quorum. Oh yeah, I was like, who's my name?
So should they still reach out to you with one?
Yeah.
And then Mandalay.
Just first name, because nobody else took Mandolin.
Okay.
I was like, who's my name?
Okay, how's that 5-minute timer going? Eventually it's gonna happen.
8 seconds.
Okay.
Get ready. You're gonna promise it.
You're gonna perform as the Senate?
Can you Google the landing console? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, here.
I can at least take roll calls.
Hold on. Yeah, here.
Let me get myself.
Otherwise,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a, you have every agenda, and then where you can just
I just wanted to make sure. I wasn't sure if there was supposed to be. Just in case.
I was gonna go to it, but then after Monday, I've been so far out of the
Okay, guys. I now call this meeting of the KSU SGA Student Senate to order. We're going to go into the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll now move into the land acknowledgement. I want to begin our the Senate meeting taking place on Thursday, November 21st, 2024, with the land acknowledgement. We recognize that Kansas State University, as the land-grant institution, stands on the ancestral lands of the Kaw people. Our state of Kansas is the home of 4 federally recognized Native nations, the Iowa, Kickapoo, Prairie Band Potawatomi, and Sac and Fox. We must remember that the land serving as the foundation for this institution was and still is stolen land acquired by white settlers. We pledge our commitment to creating decolonized spaces at the university while advocating for the support and future success of Indigenous faculty, staff, and students at K-State. Now that we've gone through the land acknowledgement, we're going to move into roll call. I know that a bunch of people aren't here, but that is fine. I will go ahead and start that. Alvarez.
Here.
Bailey.
Here.
Black.
Here.
Blood.
Here.
Brugan. Byers.
Here.
Casement.
Here.
Koch.
Here.
Cox.
Here.
Ediger. Glasscock. Griffith.
Here.
Hassan Shakib. Hannah.
Here.
Hoffman. Holmes.
Here.
Holzmeister. Islam. Jacobson Madeline. Jacobson Michael. Jonak.
Here.
Carton.
Here.
Keen. Kidd.
Here.
Lee. Lilly.
Here.
McCullough. Maltz.
Here.
Morris.
Here.
Nagai Velasquez.
Here.
Otto.
Here.
Owen.
Here.
Peterson. Palenko.
Here.
Ray.
Here.
Robbie.
Here.
Rafferty.
Here.
Richenberg.
Here.
Shahasavari.
Here.
Shirky. Stewart.
Here.
Strunk.
Here.
Uphouse.
Here.
Weaver. And Zacco. All right. We're now going to move into Adibus, our first open period speaker being Adibus. You guys are welcome to come up here. We have your presentation that we'll pull up.
I passed these out just a bit ago, and they should be on your tables if you don't have one. I just stacked them up here, and you can grab it later, but just wanted to make that note.
I'm short, sorry about that.
Okay, I'm going to make this quick, and so I'm going to run through it pretty fast. So at the end, if you guys have questions, let me know. But we are just here to kind of update you guys on the status of things with Adibus and the campus routes and off-campus routes. So this is a quick timeline about our relationship. Right now, I think the biggest thing to note is that in 2024, we are at the lowest amount of service we've ever had for K-State. So keep that in mind as we go through this presentation. Quick little agenda. We're going to go through negatives first, positives second, because it's better that way, and then some next steps and questions. So big thing right now that I want to talk to you about is our capacity issues that we're experiencing with your on-campus bus. There's one bus currently on campus that's running this route, and right now about a quarter of the day it is full, meaning other students can't get on it. So with that being said, that was an issue back in August. Right now we are seeing less and less students wanting to even try to use it because of that, and that's a big issue because when you only have around 256 rides at its highest peak in a day, that means that there's thousands of people on campus who are not able to use the service because it's full. And so we need to be able to get more vehicles on campus. At one point we were having up to 5 on campus when we had a backwards relationship back in about, I want to say 2018. That service was really great. But right now it is down to that one bus, and so we're just really not able to service as many students as we could be. You can see on this graph, like those are our peak hours. So that big line up at the top, that's a capacity line. That's right around like 9 a.m. Obviously when your classes are, that's when everybody's coming to campus, and that's when people can't get on board. I just received a complaint actually yesterday about this same service and that students are not able to get on board and get where they need to go. Next thing, fare has increased because we are no longer fare free for KSUIDs. People are now spending their money on buying bus passes, and that is not what we want K-State students to have to be spending their money on, but that's what we've seen because people do rely on the bus service to get throughout the community. We've also seen a decrease in ridership. That's pretty traditional. Whenever you have a fare, that creates a barrier, so less people are going to want to use the service, and that's what we're seeing with this. Obviously, we would think it would be in correlation with that 14% increase of fare, but it's only a 9% decrease, meaning that there are more people who are purchasing passes to ride because they need to and they have to. So just to kind of put it in perspective, this is the accessibility to the community that's free. So that little purple block is K-State. That's the only route that's free, pending some positives coming up. But all those green dots are where the apartment complexes are that probably students are living in. So realistically, they're pretty landlocked into where they can ride for free. So if you're trying to get around town, as you can see those red and blue and green lines, those aren't free for students at this point. So if they're trying to ride those are not free, and they're pretty limited in where they can go. You can see fixed route stops. Those are those stops on the red and blues. Those are grocery stores and K-State. That's where people are riding, and that's where they want to be able to get to in the community. So with that, we've been talking with the administration that we work with and some students, and we've kind of come with some priorities that we want to be able to work with you all on. And these are what those main ones are, which is increasing accessibility. So we want to be able to get on campus service to a level that is appropriate and adequate for the students on campus, along with trying to restore some of that free riding off of campus. We also want to make sure it's affordable for students. We want students to pay the minimum amount that they can with the maximum amount of service for that money. And right now, that's not what's happening. And then representation and engagement. We've heard from so many students based on surveys that they don't think there's enough information out there. So a big one that we're trying to work on, particularly me, my name is Daphne McNelly. I didn't introduce myself. I'm marketing communications for Adibus, but we are trying to get more word out there for students. They need to learn more, and so I really am going to call on you guys to help me with that. So some positives. It's not all sad. The East-West Express route is a route that we created just recently. It started back at the beginning of November, and this is a route that moves from the west side of town to the east side of town in about 25 minutes. And so this is what that route looks like. Clearly, it only has a few stops. The majority of those are to grocery stores or K-State. We know that this is important because this is where people want to go based on where their stops are at. So recently, K-State decided the administration decided they wanted to fund this. And so for the rest of this school year, students will now be allowed to ride this route for free. And that's going to be really impactful, especially for students living in the dorms, Jardine, or at those complexes centered to Aggieville, downtown, Osage, and Fourth. You can get on this and get to the grocery store, or even just to go have a drink with friends in Aggieville if you wanted to. And it's really fast. As you can see, those are the timelines for a whole hour. Next positive, you've got you guys. You helped providing $10,000 to the Global Food Systems Group, and they were able to use that to purchase bus passes for the Cats Cupboard, and that has been a really successful program so far. We've been able to distribute about $2,400 worth of those passes to Cats Cupboard so that if a student does need to use the fixed route system and cannot afford it, they can go there and get a free bus pass. And this, we've been implementing a program since Fare Free was eliminated with the International Student Center, that if you're an international student, you could apply for our half fare program, just because the majority of international students do not have a car. And so they already have an additional barrier to being able to be a Wildcat. And with that, we have seen a significant increase in applications for our half fare program that allows them to purchase those bus passes for half the cost. And about 10% of international students and their dependents are using it at this time. And we actually just won the 2024 International Innovative Education Program of the Year Award at Adibus for that program. So we're really proud of that. And in the next 12 months, we're doing a study. That's what this paper is. So the big thing I also need you to do is take the survey. It only takes 2 or 3 minutes. And then take this home, take this back to where you go, where your people are, and share this with them and have them take the survey. Your input really does matter. It makes a difference in the way that we make decisions and the way that you get service. And so that's what we really need for you to do, is help us get that input. That's a big link. If I had more time, I'd make you do it, but I'm not going to. And then this is the next steps. Take our survey. And then what we really want to do for that representation portion is identify one of you or a student that can help by joining our board. Somebody that can be there during our board meetings and be a little bit more aware of what's going on internally at the system, so they can bring that back to you and give updates as necessary. So I'm gonna put that all on you. I'm gonna task you guys with that to decide who the person is that should be, and we would like to have them join us soon. And then next, if you know of ways to get information to students, you know of a TV screen, or if you want me to come speak at your chapter meetings, whatever it is, please let me know. I'd like to. I have some business cards up here. Shoot me an email. And then lastly, we want to continue this conversation. How can we potentially restore some of the fare free, or even just improve transit at K-State overall? And how can you guys be implemental in that? I know that was fast. I want to give you time to talk or ask questions.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Senator Prey.
Hello. So I have a quick question. My older brother uses this service all the
Mhm.
And one big complication is that the buses don't really arrive on time anymore. Or he's also had it where they will be like 30 minutes late or something. So sometimes they're relatively on time and then sometimes they aren't. How would you go about adjusting that?
Sure. Do you know what service he uses most?
I believe it would be the APA.
So we have two different services. We have a fixed route service, which is mostly what I spoke to you all about. And then we also have a demand response service. And some of that can be a little bit different based on scheduling. And that has a window of about 30 minutes where he might have to wait for a bus. So I don't know which one he's using.
I think it's the route one. Like,
The route one? Okay.
Yeah, because the bus will say the time and it just pops up.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so delays have definitely been an issue because we have a driver shortage. And that's happening right now where if we have somebody call out, we have to spend 30 minutes in the morning to try and find somebody to come take that route. And that's another issue where, like, if you're over 21 and you're looking for something fun to do, you can come drive with us. If you're not over 21, come see me when you are. It's a pretty easy job, but that's part of that reason that we're having those delays, and it is an issue with the service, but we are trying to get that backing up, and we do monitor our on-time percentage every single day with every dispatcher doing that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Caucus Leader Black.
Yeah, what kind of issues kind of led to this decrease in service, and how can we go about addressing them and getting it back to where it should be?
Sure. So COVID came around, we all remember, and during that time, funding was limited for the majority of organizations, including Kansas State University. And so with that, K-State limited that funding that they were providing to us. Coming out of COVID, it did not get restored. The population of K-State enrollment has gone down, and so when I was at K-State, it was the biggest years here. So that's when the transit service really ramped up. It was big. We needed all the buses we could have. K-State had all the money to pay for it. With less students, less money, less interest in paying for the service. And so then it's a matter of right now of deciding for the administration, where do they want to put that money? Is it towards transit? Is it towards parking? Is it towards other mobility? And so it's really just a matter of trying to guide that discussion and looking at other universities and peers and figuring out what the best option is. On most universities similar to K-State, so if we're looking at like Oklahoma State or West Virginia, similar size communities, similar size universities, they are using accessible transit with limited parking and ride systems. Iowa State has a Supreme system. So the issue essentially is money. We're not here today to ask for that, but that is the conversation we need to be having is where do we get that? And if students prioritize transit, how do we make that money a priority for it?
Caucus Leader Kidd.
So great presentation. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. With this very critical information, you already gave us the charge of helping disseminate it, but do you have any other organizations on your tour to like share this information with, such as like Graduate Student Council or any other entities or anything?
So we mostly work with our administrative partners, but I want to get in front of students more. So the more option I have to be able to do that, it would be great. I was at the dorms last week. I went to the Ford complex and the Kramer complex, and freshmen are a tough beast to crack. They don't want to talk to me. But it was really interesting to get their perspective because a lot of them didn't know about the system. So that's one of the things we're working on is trying to get that in front of them more, and especially with incoming students as they don't want to drive or if they don't want to bring a car, trying to make sure that we can accomplish them knowing that they have this as an option here. But yeah, any other options you have, please send them my way.
Is there a question on Zoom? Maybe not.
Time for questions has expired.
Sure, that's okay. Thank you all for having us.
I'm going to extend time.
Oh, just kidding.
By how long?
What?
By how long?
4 minutes.
Okay, is there a second? Is there an objection? The speaker's time is extended. Parliamentarian blood.
It's okay.
Have you all considered using or like shortening the on-campus route? Like I used to live at Jardine, and it definitely seemed to make a lot of sense. Like have a shuttle, like to say like the Union and back, but like obviously it takes that full loop. With the new service, has that been a consideration at all?
Is it okay if I can click?
Yeah.
Can I click back through these?
Should be able to.
Okay, so as you guys saw, this route over here, I'm gonna get to it, possibly. You can actually go from, you can't see it because of the little box up there at the top, but that top stop is Jardine, and its next stop on the East West Express is the Union. So this is running Monday through Saturday. So this isn't an alternative route that students can use other than the campus routes. That is also free for them to get to the Union. So like that's a more direct approach if you're a Jardine resident. And that's partially why we put this in here, because we know that a lot of the capacity issues are coming from that area. A lot of people park and ride out at the football stadium, and that's also where those people are parking and then taking that directly to the Union. So that's one option. And then we did actually redo the campus routes this year before we started, and so they are a little bit different than they were last year, but that was just to encompass where students really want to go while on campus and where the ridership was. So I mean, you can pull that map up on our website or whatever, but mostly our job is to try and make it more direct, and this was one of those solutions. Yeah, and you can see the timing. It goes from Jardine to the Union in about 6 minutes, and that's just accounting for traffic.
Senator Shah Savari.
Why did you remove the Latin station?
The Lafine stop, so we removed that from the K-State routes, but it stayed on our Route 1. So Route 1 is a fixed route system, and that's just because we adjusted the K-State stops. Let me see if I can get back to it really quick. Okay. Is it on Route 1 still?
It's still on Route 1.
It's on Route 1, yeah. So Lafine is accessible to students utilizing Route 1, but that wouldn't be a free route for you all. But on K-State, if you go back, it's a little while, you'll find it. Yeah, there you go. So we prioritized Cats Cupboard because it's not too terribly far from that area, and that seems like that was much more. Students weren't riding to go to Lafine, they were riding to go to Cats Cupboard or the Kramer Complex. That's what we determined with students. And so we figured Cats Cupboard is a much more beneficial route stop for students because this gives them access to food and then still keeps them a short walk from Kramer and Lafine. But you can still access it via the Route 1.
Are there any further questions for the speaker? Okay, seeing none, thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Are there any further first open period speakers? Seeing none, we will go into the approval of the minutes. The minutes were passed out yesterday along with the agenda and legislation tracking information. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Senator Hannah.
I move to approve the minutes.
Is there an objection? The minutes will stand approved. We'll go into announcements. 1, proxies. If you're going to be absent from a student senate meeting, please fill out this link, even if you aren't sure if your absence will be excused. 2, if you'll be physically absent from student senate but would still like to attend via Zoom, please fill out the student senator Zoom request form. Speaker requester will review requests based on the student senate attendance policy. Please submit requests here. 3, want to give props to someone in student senate, fill out the Senate shout-out form, and Speaker Pro Tem Hesseltine will read them at the end of our meeting. Fill your shout-outs out here. 4, the SGA Member of the Week is Katie Alverson. Katie has been doing an excellent job as our Deputy Attorney General, and in only her second year in the organization, she was selected last night to serve as our next Attorney General. Congratulations, Katie. 5 is the upcoming events calendar, and the quote of the week is, remember, even in the darkest of times, taking a moment to rest, regroup, and recharge is often the key to success, from Winston Churchill. With that, we will now go into committee reports. Are there any committee chairs who have a report? Chair Strunk.
All right. Hey, guys. I'm Gavin Strunk. I'm the chair of the Student Allocations Committee, and I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of a... Oh, okay, thanks. Just wanted to give you guys a little fall update on what the Student Allocations Committee has done and what we're continuing to do. All right, so in case you don't really know, SAC has 3 separate funds of money that we can pull from, and they fund 3 separate things. So we fund academic competition teams, sports clubs, and then we have our general allocation fund, which is for campus-wide organizations. So, and is not available to sports clubs or academic competition teams. And those are the amounts that are available to each. All right, so then I have some SAC facts for you guys. So 29 general allocations have been presented to SAC this semester. 20 have been funded so far, meaning they passed Senate. 6 are in final action or introduction tonight. 1 failed in Senate, 1 was tabled in committee, and 1 was denied by SAC. And yeah, 78.4% of the general allocation fund has already been approved by SAC. So that's kind of a little breakdown of our general remaining funds. So we've already spent, or technically, assuming that everything passes tonight, $31,280, and we have $8,613 left. So we've spent definitely a fair chunk of change. Do keep in mind, though, that we can request $10,000 in reserves to add to this fund. So with that, are there any questions?
Okay,
all right,
seeing
great.
None, thank you. Yeah, you did. Okay. Are there any further committee chairs that would like to give a report? Chair Koch.
All right, hi guys. For those I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, my name's Anna. I am the Strategic Oversight Committee Chair, and so, thanks Wax. And so we're really focusing on just like community engagement and how we can focus on different issues for K-State. So lately we just finalized our student issue survey, and so the topics include just basic demographics, so we know like who's filling out the survey, post-grad prep, life in and out of the classroom, safety, DEIB concerns, affordability, health, and then different feedback so students can like input different ideas and concerns they have so that we can address those. There's also a little section in there where they can include their name, so if they want to be contacted and like so we can reach back out to them, they can, but absolutely optional. I was just recently tasked with planning a Senate holiday party. So that will be Thursday, December 5th. So that will be the Thursday of Dead Week. Still literally just got approved for that yesterday. So I'm still gonna be planning it out. I'll send some information out. Carson was supposed to put it in the announcements, but that didn't make it, but that's okay. Last meeting, oh sorry, I just wanted to put that in there. So last meeting, we ended up setting goals for next semester, and so I will be starting next semester, first meeting with a legislation workshop where anyone can come in, and so we'll really be focusing on like resolutions, maybe a little bill, to see like this is how you do it. These are a few different ways you can do that to make sure you guys are starting next semester right off the bat with the knowledge of how to write legislation. And then we also wanted to set up some tabling for next semester. So maybe partner with like the elections promotion committee and really focus on like reaching students, but also getting them to want to join SGA, whether that's running for a position or joining emerging leaders. So really just trying to like get SGA out, but also get some information in about what we can do and how we can best serve students. So does anyone have any questions? Sweet.
Are there any other committee chairs who would like to make a report? Seeing none, we'll move into directors' reports, or are there any directors who would like to make a report? All righty, seeing none, we'll move into approval of allocations. Is there a motion to approve it? Okay. Philip, Sharkey.
I move to approve the allocations unanimously.
Second.
Okay, hold on. I gotta do both jobs at the exact same time, so just give me 1 second. Okay. Now we'll move into final action. Okay. So that's actually also me. So I've got to do this.
Oh, yeah, and I get it fixed.
So to answer my own question, okay. I'm just doing all the jobs at one time.
Great.
It's okay. Everybody just wants to go home for break, right? That's how.
Were
Okay.
there any changes made?
Yes. To answer that question, there were many changes made in committee. I also don't have the correct one.
It's on the board.
Okay, so the main changes you may be noticing, they were not in the agenda. However, mainly what was originally section 2 was striked and has been renamed to say amendments to the KSU SGA bylaws regarding the removal of the Speaker Pro Tempore from the Strategic Oversight Committee. Those are the main changes, and I'll kind of explain why in my debate, which I do have first rights to debate, so I'll go into that. So the main reason we decided to do this is because it will work for me to go to ops, but to legislate the Speaker Pro Tempore having to go to another committee meeting continuously, like for future pro tems, may not be what will work exactly. I think there are processes that we can do within how we, formulate legislation right now that will make this easier. So I kind of agree. Like pro tem currently stands on, vice chair, Senate exec, and then also is on the faculty affairs committee. So I think that it is possible to still see through with the legislation without having to be on operations as an ex officio member. So is there any negative debate? Seeing as that was debating the positive.
Not negative debate.
Is it a question? Yeah, yes, Philip, sure.
I think the way to do this is with a friendly amendment, because I see a typo on line 22. Members, plural, should be member. I think it's a friendly amendment.
It's strucken.
The S is struck.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there any debate in the negative? Is there any debate at all? What? I'm just gonna stand here. Is there any other debate? Okay, seeing now we're gonna move into a roll call vote, which you're gonna have to give me a second to also do. Okay.
Hold on, Senator Richenberg, do you have any?
Okay, are we all good? Okay, Alvarez,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Blood,
Yes.
Bolton,
Yes, via proxy.
Brugan, Byers,
Yes.
Casement,
Yes.
Koch,
Yes.
Cox,
Yes.
Ediger,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
George,
Yes, by proxy.
Giefer,
Yes, by proxy.
Glanville,
Yes, by proxy.
Glasscock, Griffith,
No.
Hassan Shakib, Hannah,
Yes.
Hoffman, Holmes,
Yes.
Holzmeister,
No.
Islam, Jacobson Madeline,
No.
Jacobson Michael.
No by proxy.
Are you his proxy?
Yes.
I don't think I had that in the, that's fine, we'll figure it out later. Jonak,
Yes.
Carton,
Yes.
Keen, Kidd,
Yes.
Kermer,
Yes by proxy.
Kramer,
Yes by proxy.
Lee,
Yes.
Lilly,
Yes.
McCulloch, Moltz,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Nagai Velasquez,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Owen,
Yes.
Peterson, Palenko,
Yes.
Prey,
Yes.
Robbie,
Yes.
Rafferty,
Yes.
Richenberg,
Yes.
Shaw Savari,
Yes.
Shirky,
Yes.
Sides,
Yes, by proxy.
Stewart,
Yes.
Strunk, Sushanik,
Yes, by proxy. Sorry.
Uphouse,
Yes.
Zacco. Okay, that will pass 40-3 to 0. Now we'll move into Bill 2545. Will the author please come to the podium? Yes? Griffith?
I move to bulk roll call bills 42 and 43.
Second. Yeah.
Those are the wrong bill numbers.
Sorry, 45 and 46.
Second.
Second.
Is there any objection? Okay, we still need to hear debate, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, will the author please come up? Sorry. Senator Byers,
I move to allow the author to summarize.
are there any objections?
That's not necessary. It's debate.
I'm reading it on Sam's behalf.
But this is not introduction. It's debate. It's debate.
We're in final action.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, we went back and forth with KSDB with questions, kind of refining the amounts and looking at the numbers they gave us. We looked at the price index for electronics costs and the stuff that they would need to be buying and replacing. Electronic equipment tends to last a good while, but we're right about the time where the stuff they have is going to start dying. And it is really expensive to replace nowadays. So that's why we bumped it up a little more than we were initially going to. Yeah.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there any debate in the negative? Is there any debate in the positive? Is there any debate at all? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into Bill 24, 25, 46, since we're going to bulk roll call both of them, so will the author please come back?
Hi. So exact same thing.
Did you make any changes?
No, we didn't make any changes. Exact same thing. We bumped up their reserves just because they're worried about some of their older equipment going out. They had a failure, which is why we increased the reserves specifically, because they did have some stuff they had to replace on an emergency basis. Vote yes. I can go back now, right?
Yeah, you should be. Is there any debate in the negative? Is there any debate at all? Okay. Senator Black.
Yeah, I'm just going to
hold on. Is this positive or negative?
This is positive. I just want you to quickly note, not that there's like a counter argument, but the increase for KSDB is necessary because they are well behind on updating their equipment, and it's one of those cases of it gets more expensive as time goes on, and we need them to be able to function.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there any debate in the negative? Is there any debate at all? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into a bulk roll call vote for Bill 24, 25, 45 and Bill 24, 25, 46. Is that cool with the crew? Okay. Alvarez?
Yes to both.
Bailey?
Yes to both.
Black?
Yes to both.
Blood?
Yes to all.
Bolton? Brugan? Byers?
Yes to both.
Casement?
Yes to all.
Koch?
Yes to both.
Cox?
Yes to both.
Ediger?
Yes to both.
Erickson?
Yes to all.
George?
Yes to both by proxy.
Giefer?
No to all by proxy.
Glanville?
Yes to both by proxy.
Glasscock? Griffith?
Yes to 45 and yes to 46.
Hassan Shakib? Hannah?
Yes, all.
Hoffman? Holmes?
Yes to both.
Holzmeister? Islam? Jacobson Madeline? Jacobson Michael? Jonak?
Yes to all.
Carton?
Yes to all.
Keen? Kidd?
Yes to both.
Kermer?
Yes to both by proxy.
Kramer?
Yes to both by proxy.
Lee?
Yes to both.
Lilly?
Yes to all.
McCulloch? Maltz?
Yes to both.
Morris?
Yes to all.
Nagai Velasquez,
Yes, all.
Otto,
Yes to both.
Owen,
Yes to all.
Peterson, Palenko,
Yes to all.
Prey,
Yes to all.
Robbie,
Yes to all.
Rafferty,
Yes to both.
Richenberg,
Yes to all.
Shasavari,
Yes to both.
Shirky,
Yes and yes.
Sides,
Yes to all by proxy.
Stewart,
Yes to both.
Strunk,
Yes to all.
Sushanik,
Yes to all by proxy.
Uphouse,
Yes to both.
and
Okay, with that, we will now go into, oh, Caucus Moltz.
I apologize. Bolton via proxy, yes to both.
okay, thank you.
Okay, with that, we will go.
Oh, those will both pass. 40 to 1 to 0.
Anything else? Okay, Chair Strunk.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to move bills 47, 48, and 49 into final action.
Okay. Doesn't need a second. It's the SAC Chair's cool and mysterious powers. So Chair Strunk has moved bills 47, 48, and 49 into final action, which means that we will go into final action on first Bill 47, which is the FY25 allocation to the Blue Key Honor Society. Let's see here. Okay, they requested $1,500 and were recommended $1,500. If the author will please come forward. Yeah.
Do you want me to read all three bills? Oh, okay. Good.
Doesn't he have to introduce them still?
So he doesn't have to introduce them because he just moved them into final action. So the first question is, were there changes in committee?
Mm-mm.
Okay, yeah, first rest to debate on Bill 47.
Yeah, so Blue Key's going to Flagstaff, Arizona. They requested 1,500. We recommended 1,500.
Okay, that's it. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there any debate in the negative on Bill 47? Seeing none, is there any debate in the positive? Is there any further debate at all? Okay, seeing none, we will go into a roll call.
Yeah.
Parliamentarian block.
That'd be nice.
Move to bulk roll call 47, 48, 49.
There's an objection. 47 through 49 will be roll called. So with that, we'll now go into debate on Bill 48, which is the FY25 student allocation to the Hispanic American Leadership Organization. They requested $1,300 and were recommended $13,000, yes. And were recommended $1,500. The author has first rights to debate.
Yeah, so Halo requested $13,000 to go to a conference in Chicago. We recommended the maximum amount of $1,500.
Okay, seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there any debate in the negative? Seeing none, is there any debate in the positive? And is there any further debate at all? Seeing none, we'll go into debate on Bill 49, which is the FY25 allocation to Wildlife and Outdoor Enterprise Management Club. They requested $1,150 and they were recommended the same. The author has first rights to debate.
Yeah, so Wildlife and Outdoor Enterprise Management Club is going to Nashville for basically like a professional development convention and sports show. So yeah, and basically the only reason I put these into final action tonight was so that way these organizations would know and we didn't have to like stretch this over break. So just to explain that for everybody.
Okay, seeing as that was debate in the positive on Bill 49, is there debate in the negative? Seeing none, is there debate in the positive? And is there any further debate at all? With that, we will go into a bulk roll call vote on Bills 47 through 49.
Alvarez,
Yes to all.
Senator Griffith.
I move to suspend the rules and approve bills 47, 48, and 49 by unanimous consent.
Second.
Is there an objection? Okay, the bills will be approved. With that, we will now go into introduction of legislation. The first one is Bill 242550, amendments to the KSUSGA statutes regarding DEIB funding. Is there a motion to consider? Senator Griffith.
I move to consider Bill 50.
Is there a second? Okay, if the author will please come forward.
All right, nice to meet you all. First legislation, so any feedback is welcome. Bill 242550, amendment to the KSUSGA statutes regarding DEIB funding. Author is Daniel Polanco. Whereas the Kansas State University Student Governing Association, KSUSGA, should continue to update its governing documents to better its functioning and efficiency. Whereas the DEIB committee has had multiple occasions in which certain parts of events cannot be funded due to restrictions in the statutes regarding the funding regulations. Whereas the events presented showed enough significant multicultural and diverse educational value, and the restricted items carried that same educational value. Whereas the current statutes also create uncertainty when funding basic and universal items such as but not limited water, basic beverages, or objects of significant multicultural value open to the public, and whereas an amendment to the statutes would give more clarity and power to the committee as to fund basic needs and to improve the quality of multicultural events for the entire student body. Be it enacted that Section 1, Chapter 24, Section 240203 shall be amended as follows. Funds requested for a project must be divided into separate categories as outlined below. Each category must have the detailed description of the items requested and estimate of the cost of each item. A, promotions. Promotions shall include any expense to the advertisement and activities such as a collegiate advertisement, KSDB, or any radio advertisements, leaflets or posters, and other such materials determined by the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee. Lecturer, speaker, or entertainment fee. Lecturer, speaker, or entertainment fee shall include any funds requested by an organization in order to bring a speaker to campus, including their travel, lodging costs, food, and fee to perform a planned project or event. C, rent of space. Rent of space and equipment shall include any expenses related to renting rooms or other areas for performances and other events, as well as any costs related to rental of tables and chairs, movie projectors, or other necessary materials for the project. Films. Films shall include any expense for the rental of movies, documentaries, recorded theatrical shows, or other such events. Food. Food shall include ingredients or prepackaged food items whose primary purpose is to add to the intercultural learning experience of the event, or food items that serve as a basic universal purpose at the event as determined by the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee. F. Other. This category shall include any expenses for items that do not reasonably fit into these categories as determined necessary by the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee. However, this category shall be subject on funding listed below. 1. Social events. Student activity funds may not be spent on any materials pertaining to social functions, parties, or banquets except when the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee finds a substantial educational benefit. Personal materials. Student activity funds may not be spent on any personal materials such as plaques, gifts, awards, flowers, name tags, engravings, or any for specific individuals, photographs, or clothing, except when the items carry enough educational, multicultural, and/or diversity value and is available to all people. 3. Wages. Student activity funds may not be spent on wages or compensation of any kind, with the exception of projectionists, security officers as required by the rental facility, and when the wages or compensation are directed towards necessary expenses needed to improve the educational quality of the project. 4. Recruitment. Student activity funds may not be spent on any trips or events in which recruitment is the sole purpose, except when the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee finds a substantial educational benefit to the Kansas State University students making the request. Section 2, this legislation shall take effect upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the student body president.
Senator Shirkey.
I have a semantic correction on the very bottom section, line 61, and is available should be and are available.
Senator Griffith.
All references to chapter 24 need to be chapter 10, because that's what the Japanese statutes are. Chapter 24 is the union food contract agreement.
Okay, are there any further questions or corrections for the author? Senator Shirkey.
Yeah, so I would like you to, like, tell us, why this is being proposed.
Yeah, of course. So at least this semester, we had a couple new clubs coming in or new organizations coming in which we were unable to fund basic expenses such as water due to the statutes, or, for example, certain educational value items. I can name certain examples if you want to. Like, for example, there was the Islamic Student Union that came in. They wanted to give out Qurans in order to teach people about the Islamic religion. However, we are unable to fund that due that falls under the gifts category. And so, pertaining to that, we want to change those items. That way we can fund not only basic items needed for the event, but also to boost the multicultural and educational value for the whole student body.
Are there any further questions or corrections for the author? Yep, Senator Shirkey.
I have a question. Is this urgent enough that you want a special order it into final action, or can it wait until January to get done?
I believe we can wait. There's no need to rush this. And it's also not a big change, so we're not taking too much.
Are there any further questions or corrections on Bill 50? Chair Lilly.
Would it be friendly to strike the changes to 61 and 62? I don't think we can actually pass that because of tax purposes.
61 and 62?
The gifts.
Yeah.
$60 and 61.
Do you have a ruling on that, Brian?
I'm gonna say no, but right now I'm not interested that friendly. But we should get some advice later on.
Okay.
Okay, are there any
I
further?
did want to ask the chair if which committee is this going to be referenced to? If we can have some information on that.
Yeah, DEIB.
All right.
Are there any further? Yep, Senator Shirkey.
Point of information, will DEIB be able to sufficiently answer the question that was just raised? Or do we need to postpone this, get outside help from someone?
There are many.
DEIB is perfectly capable of.
Yeah, there are many interested parties in the bill. Are you trying to speak, Amy?
Are you there?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, can I speak?
Do you have a question for the presenter?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Do you have a question for the author of the bill?
Okay.
Amy, are you there?
Okay, so I think that we need to probably look into the KSU PPM and the state of Kansas PPM before we pass something like this.
Is this a question?
It could be, sure.
No. What? Chair Lilly.
If I ask him what she was going to say, can you defer the
No,
question to
just
her?
Amy just needs to ask a question. Cogitator Black.
I move to suspend the rules and let Amy say what she wants to say.
That is actually out of order, as that you cannot suspend Robert's Rules of Order. So,
Okay, Amy, do you have a question for Senator Blanco?
Have you looked into the state of Kansas PPM and the Kansas State University PPM concerning this type of activity, personal items, materials?
I have not. At this moment, no.
Chair Lee.
Can I ask Amy a question?
Sure.
Amy, when it comes to the PPM, the one that you listed from K-State, could you elaborate more on how DPF-funded events would be considered as official hospitality?
I did check with Division of Financial Services when I saw the agenda today, and they had some major questions on this. And so I would probably not pass this until we get everything clarified. I think the way it's written, it's very vague, and that you're gonna open up basically a can of worms. And I don't think that's something that you wanna do.
Do you think we could get some folks from them to come to the next DIB committee meeting as well?
I mean, I can try, I can't speak for them.
Okay. Does anybody else have any further questions or corrections for the author of the bill? Okay. Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
We will now go on to introduction of Bill 51, amendments to the KSU SGA statutes regarding funding deadlines and limitations. Is there a motion to consider? Senator Shirkey.
I move to consider Bill 51.
Okay. Is there a second? The author will please come forward.
Oh, it's not here, is it?
As
Where?
should be recommended.
Chair Lilly.
I move to allow the author to summarize.
Oh, here it is. Is there an objection?
I object.
Okay, it's been moved, seconded, and objected to allow the author to summarize. All those in favor of allowing the author to summarize, please raise your placards now. Proxies raised too. You can lower them. All opposed, same sign. You can lower them. Any abstentions? Okay, the author can summarize.
Okay, that's fine. I don't have the whole thing, but I think I've got most of it. So basically, what this does is there was a bill. Thanks. There was a bill last year that intended to remove this 60-40 travel and on-campus allocation split limit, but it failed to remove two other clauses that are in the statutes that are, basically the same thing. So we saw that, decided that those needed to be gone, and then also KSU SGA does not currently allocate anything for open house, so I got rid of this line where it says all open house requests must be submitted because there are none.
Are there any questions, Senator Shirkey?
I have a proposed friendly amendment. And so this would go to section 070103F7E, which is now 5E, and it would be to strike letter E in its entirety. I propose that as a friendly amendment.
It wouldn't be friendly, but it would be an amendment.
Okay, are there any further questions or corrections for the author? Okay, seeing none, thank you.
I move special order Bill 51.
Second.
Okay.
It is.
The maker of the motion will please come forward.
Yeah, so unlike the previous bill, which while it is a change to funding statutes, is kind of a new change. This is really just kind of a correction for an oversight that was made about a year and a half ago, and so this kind of just allows us to bring two parts of our statutes that we had thought we had covered back in line with really what our current practices are. And so this will allow the Student Allocations Committee to hit the ground running with these new rules once we come back in the spring semester. And I really don't think should be controversial. And so we should just special order it today to consider in final action and vote tonight so that the Student Allocations Committee can continue to serve students in the best way possible.
Okay, seeing as that was debate in the positive on the motion to special order, is there debate in the negative on the motion to special order? Seeing no debate in the negative, is there any debate in the positive on the motion to special order? Chair Strong.
So yeah, just to reiterate, a few previous committee chairs came together and wrote that Bill 6 last year, missed this part. But yeah, so this would definitely be something that I would like to probably get done tonight, but considering we'd be in violation of our statutes as it stands currently.
Since I was debating the positive on the motion to special order, is there debate in the negative? Okay, seeing none, is there debate in the positive? Yeah.
Okay.
And then is there any further debate at all? Okay, seeing none, we will now take a hand vote on the motion to special order Bill 51, not on Bill 51, on the motion. So if you are in favor of special ordering Bill 51, please raise your placards now. Proxies raised too. Okay, you can lower them. All opposed, same sign.
Vice President O'Malley, come on.
Any abstentions? Okay, seeing none, we will special order Bill 51 and go into final action on Bill 51. If the author will please come forward. Were there any changes in committee?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, yeah, first starts to debate.
Yeah, so basically just reiterating the points I've already made, this would basically bring us back in line with what Bill 6 intended, as well as getting rid of a deadline clause that we no longer really pertains to our committee.
Okay, seeing as that was debate in the positive on Bill 51, is there debate in the negative? Senator Shirkey.
I have a proposed amendment. I've emailed it to you, so it's in writing.
Did you email it to me?
Yeah.
Did you also email it to Brian?
Give me 10 seconds and the answer will be yes.
Start the clock.
1,000, 2,000. Sorry, I meant 12. I have a 10-second delay on my email. It is to add a.
Now that might be a friendly amendment.
Philip, if you'll come forward and explain it.
Okay.
Well, you forgot to add the attachment board.
I didn't. No, you just scroll up and you see it. It's in writing. Include the striking of F7E.
I don't think the amendment has to be in writing. I think it has to be complete. I wouldn't consider
How do you define in writing? None of this is in writing. It's all electronic.
Hold on. Are you going to accept the amendment, parliamentarian blood?
I'll accept the amendment.
Thank you.
Okay. You'll come forward and read it / a little explanation.
So basically, there's, as the chair brought up, there's not funding for open house right now. And in fact, when you're just some regular student org and you propose funding through SAC, you are actually not allowed to do funding if it's a recruitment event. This is a relic. This should not be our policy going forward. By definition, right, most governments they generate citizens through one of two ways, either immigration or human reproduction. We cannot use the latter of those methods for a variety of reasons. We use the former in the form of transfer students and international students, but our primary way of generating revenue is through recruitment events. We should allow funding of recruitment events in order to expand our financial base and to provide a larger community for our people. So if we strike Section E, we're allowed to basically consider funding for open house and other events in the same breath as other SAC actions. That's what the amendment would do.
Okay. There's no opportunity for questions. Senator Griffith.
Mr. Speaker, point of order. Is this amendment germane?
I would say so. It's amending the statutes. Senator Griffith.
I move to appeal the decision of the chair.
Please don't. They're changing open house. That's a recruiting event. This is
Okay.
obviously germane.
Take a vote.
There's no second, so no.
For second, yeah.
Objection.
Yeah, that is germane, yeah.
No, the motion on the table is to challenge my decision that it is germane. If there's a second, the challenge will continue.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded.
Would you like me to explain?
Please.
Okay, so the motion to challenge the decision of the chair is not a debatable motion. This one is a bit weird in the fact that if you vote for the motion, if you have a yes vote, you are upholding the decision of the chair. If you vote no, a negative vote, you are striking down the decision of the chair. For context of what this means in practice, what Speaker Cuesta has ruled on is that this motion is germane. And what that means, and that the amendment is germane. What that means is that we will have the ability to vote on whether to amend this bill to strike section, what is now in this bill, 5E. What Senator Griffith is alleging is that this is not germane and therefore challenging the decision of the chair. So a no vote is that we cannot consider this amendment tonight because it is not germane. And a positive vote on this motion is that it is germane and we will continue to consider the amendment. Any things else that I can clarify? Wonderful.
Okay. With that, we will now go into a, what's the threshold on this? Okay. We'll now go into a hand vote on whether or not to accept the challenge of the decision of the chair. And so like Parliamentarian Blood said, a yes vote is to uphold the decision. A no vote is to strike down the decision. So we will now take that vote. All those in favor of the decision, please raise your placards now. Proxies raised too. Okay, you can lower them. All opposed, same sign. Okay, you can lower them. And any abstentions? Okay, you can lower them. The challenge will fail. So we will now get back to the amendment. And so we will go into debate.
Nope, there's not been a second on the amendment.
Great catch. Is there a second to consider the amendment?
A second.
It's been a second. Okay, we will now go into debate on Senator Shirkey's amendment. So if the author of the amendment will please come forward, you have first rights to debate.
The question is really simple. Do you think student government should have the capacity to fund recruitment events, or do you not? If you do, you should vote for the amendment and then for the legislation itself so that we have the ability to fund recruitment. If you don't think we should do recruitment, then don't vote for the amendment.
Is there debate in the negative? Parliamentarian Blood.
While a previous speaker seems to think that the primary purpose of open house is recruitment, I would challenge that. And I would really challenge that it is, in general, a community event. If we were to say that open house, where any organization is allowed to put up a booth and, talk about what they do, exhibit showcases, and talk to community members is a recruitment event, then one could argue that every single on-campus event that we do is therefore a recruitment event. But I do not think that's the case. Otherwise, we would not have this clause and we would not have on-campus events. Instead, it's for the benefit of the community and the campus as a whole. And that's what open house does. There's nothing stopping any organization from requesting funds to support their open house events as an on-campus allocation. And in fact, unlike travel, there's no limitation to the amount that they can request for said events outside of the amount that the Student Allocations Committee has to allocate to those organizations. And so therefore, however, I do think specific targeted recruitment events for specific recruitment to their own organization may need to be limited. And this allows the Student Allocations Committee to have the discretion to decide whether an event is solely for recruitment of their own members or whether it has broad ability to benefit students and the campus and community as a whole. And allowing them that discretion, as it does here as well, is important, while not just benefiting solely that organization when it comes to on-campus events. And so we should leave this in here before we vote on the amendment overall.
Okay. Seeing as that is debate in the negative on the amendment, is there debate in the positive? Seeing none, is there any debate in the negative? Chair Strunk.
All right, cool. So, well, I think that a previous speaker had an interesting view of the statutes, and it does say, except when SAC finds a substantial educational benefit. I do agree that this does leave us discretion, but also this is also in the DEIB committee chapter as well, the recruitment side. So I don't see how we could just remove it from one without removing it to another. I think that open house funding is definitely an interesting topic. But I also almost hesitate to put it in the same light as our general pool. I do wish that if we're going to fund open house, I think we should have a separate pool of money just for open house as well. But that's not how it is in the status quo. So I urge you to vote no on the amendment.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive on the amendment, is there debate in the negative? Senator Shirkey.
No, that was not debate in the positive.
That's right. That was debate in the negative. Is there any debate in the positive on the amendment? Okay, seeing none, is there any further debate in the negative? Senator Griffith.
All right, well, obviously, as my motion made clear, I didn't believe this is germane, but that is a settled issue. I still don't believe that we should adopt this amendment because I believe that it should be in that simply saying that any recruitment event could be considered enough to get student allocation committee funding. I don't believe fits the nature of the bill, and I don't believe would be a good change either. I would urge you to vote against the amendment, meant to keep it the way it is, because it still allows for those recruitment events to be funding, like a previous speaker said, up to the discretion of the allocations committee. So I would urge you to vote no on this amendment.
Seeing as that is debate in the negative, is there any debate in the positive? Amy, are you wanting to debate in the negative or positive?
I just want to give a point of clarification. In the past, open house had its own line item on student activity fee. And so you need to probably clarify what you're really trying to do here. It shouldn't come out of on-campus allocation fund. It should have its own line item, in my opinion.
Okay. Still looking for debate at all. Seeing none, we will take a hand vote on the amendment proposed by Senator Shirkey. If you are in favor of the amendment and putting it on the bill, raise your placards now. Proxies raise 2. Okay, you can lower them. If you are opposed to the amendment, please raise your placards now. Proxies raise 2. Okay, you can lower them. Any abstentions? Okay. With that, the amendment will fail, and we will go back into debate on Bill 51. We were looking for debate in the negative. Is there any debate in the negative on Bill 51? Seeing none, is there any debate in the positive on Bill 51? And is there any further debate at all? Okay, seeing none, we will go into a roll call vote on Bill 51, amendments to the KSU-SGA statutes regarding funding deadlines and limitations.
Alvarez. Pass. Bailey.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Blood.
Yes.
Yes,
Bolton.
via proxy.
Brugan. Byers.
Yes.
Casement.
Yes.
Koch.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
Ediger.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
George.
Yes, by proxy.
Giefer.
Yes.
Glanville.
Yes, by proxy.
Glasscock. Griffith.
Yeah.
Hassan Shakib. Hannah.
Yes.
Hoffman. Holmes.
Yes.
Holzmeister.
Yes.
Islam. Jacobson Madeline.
Yes.
Jacobson Michael.
Yes, by proxy.
Jonak.
Yes.
Carton.
Yes.
Keen. Kidd.
Yes.
Kermer.
Yes, by proxy.
Kramer.
Yes, by proxy.
Lee.
Yes.
Lilly,
Yes.
McCullough, Moltz,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Nagai Velasquez,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Owen,
Yes.
Peterson, Palenko,
Yes.
Prey, Robbie,
Yes.
Rafferty,
Yes.
Richenberg,
Yes.
Shaw Savari, Shirky,
Yes.
Sides,
Oh, yes, by proxy.
Stewart, Strunk,
Yes.
Sushanik,
Yes.
Uphouse,
Yes.
and Zacco. And Alvarez?
Yes.
Okay, that will pass 43 to 0 to 0.
Okay, with that, we will now go back into introduction of legislation. We have Resolution 52, the resolution to support current sustainability policies at Kansas State University. Is there Levi or Senator Moltz?
I move to place resolution 242552 on the table indefinitely.
Objection.
That's out of order.
If I suspend the rules and
It hasn't.
place.
We haven't considered it yet. So I'm still looking for a motion to consider Resolution 52. Senator Shirky.
I move to special order resolution 52.
That is out of order. It has to be considered first.
I apologize.
Senator Shirky.
Consider resolution 52.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to consider the resolution. If the author will please come forward.
I'm sorry to the chamber, I got a bit of a headache. I'm not really on my game with regards to motions. Resolution 52, resolution to support current sustainability policies, Kansas State University. Author Philip Shirky. KSUSGA has pursued sustainability, as have faculty, students, staff, student org. Scattered efforts will not get KSU to net.
Senator Shirky, one moment. Please stop crosstalk while we're introducing legislation to the body.
Scattered efforts will not get KSU to net zero emissions, significant financial savings in a reasonable time frame. Their supporters will be valuable in a unified initiative. Smith Group, an architecture engineering firm working with KSU, provides long-term plans for significant investments and strategic actions, something other companies have provided to KSU in the past. Pollution Prevention Institute, PPI, an organization that's been writing sustainability action plans regarding short-term goals and utility efficiencies in similar areas since 1989, is managed by KSU and should be utilized in the near-term future. Be it resolved, Section 1, KSUSJ supports sustainability, recognizes the utilization of existing infrastructure, organization, personnel is the best path to a net zero emissions future and a significant financial savings for the university. KSUSJ encourages administration and the Division of Facilities to engage with the Pollution Prevention Institute and determine if a series of smaller projects in the short term can generate both environmental and financial benefits for a university. Upon passage by the Student Senate, signature of the student body president, a copy shall be sent to myself, I managed to spell my own name incorrectly, PPI Assistant Director Arthur Fink, Associate Vice President for Facilities Casey Lauer, and University President Dr. Richard H. Linton. Mr. Speaker, I have a correction.
Okay.
Line 33. My name has 2 L's. I don't know why I wrote it with 1.
Okay. With that, are there any questions or corrections for the author, Chair Lee?
What conversations have you had with administration about this?
Yeah. So what this is, just like the last 2 resolutions I proposed, is I'm looking for the position of the student body on whether we want to look into this. What I'm doing right now is I am working with administration. I'm scheduling a meeting with administration through one of the executive assistants. I have been working with, I'm also scheduling a meeting with facilities. What's actually going on here, the behind the scenes thing, is that I'm looking into if this university can use a company that is like within its own research and extension called the Pollution Prevention Institute to survey its facilities, go through like utility stuff and try to find ways that we can improve energy efficiency and things like that. That requires I meet with administration, scheduling in progress. That's why I'm going to special order this, because The meetings are literally being scheduled, and if I show up to the meeting without the resolution, I'm gonna look like a fool. And I'm also meeting with facilities because I need to make sure that they're actually on board with considering any kind of technical improvements, technology purchases, projects, things like that.
Do you have a follow-up?
I do. I guess, like, so you mentioned Casey Research and Extension, correct?
Yeah, I believe that's a section of engineering under which this company is organized. They basically act as a private company. They're grant funded by the EPA, and they usually go to private industry and provide them with various technological projects to implement, things to purchase, practices to do in order to raise their bottom line.
So I guess my question is the university already engaged in these conversations?
Unfortunately, no. So you'd think that because this company existed since 1989, that we would be like using them for our own internal operations. We don't. We engage in similar conversations through the Smith Group, which is mentioned here. That's more of like a long-term strategy thing. So they're an architectural engineering firm, and they look at very long-term ways for our campus to be more sustainable. They don't look at the like ground game. How can we use newer pump systems, newer HVAC systems? How can we maybe make sure that people are engaging in conservative lighting practices, things like that, which is what these guys do.
Congressman Black.
Yeah, what kind of costs are associated with this, and what kind of ways can it save the university money?
Yeah, so here's an example, and this is a great time for me to do a ethics disclosure. I have worked for this company in the past. I have not been paid for anything I'm saying or proposing right now, but I do want to make sure the chamber knows I have been an employee of this company over the summer. So during that time, it was a 10-week program. There were 6 medical facilities, for example, that I was working on audits for. And we were able to find a total of $175,000 of savings across those facilities and an average payback period of like 3 years. So not that large per facility, but not that small either. And what we expect is that on the whole university scale, we will definitely receive 6 figures of annual savings. And it will also almost certainly be 6 figures just to implement this program if it actually gets implemented. Because you'd have to pay for at least one full-time engineering staff as a supervisor, as well as part-time interns or staff that would actually be doing the auditing work.
Caucus Leader Moltz.
Question for the author. Have you spoken with the K-State 2025 Sustainability Strategic Planning Committee under the 2025 Visionary Plan for sustainability on campus for operation?
Yeah, unfortunately, the timing is not going to work. There's no way this would actually be implemented fast enough to accord with that plan. I don't even know every single sustainability resource on campus. I've tried to find them, and I know there's some work that's being done through student executive branch. I know that there were through oversight committee, we found people that were operating in Hale and some other facilities that were pursuing one-off projects. It is a real mess trying to find every pro-sustainability force on campus. I know for a fact that there's people I could be talking to that I just don't have the information for. I'd really love any information you can provide for them, any insights they would have. And they'll definitely be getting used, because this is not like a immediate short-term looming thing. This will be a multi-year thing if it actually gets enacted.
Associate Vice President Jackson.
Once again, I appreciate the effort. Great bill. I think it brings a lot of attention to things that we could do in the future. But just to give you some clarification, we've used 3 ESCOs. These are energy-saving operations over the last 20 years. So if you lived in the residence halls, there's motion detectors in every room that default to better energy savings. We started that almost 20 years ago. We've saved more than $12 million finding good energy resources. Water, electricity, the chilled water plant that we just built was, and I say just built, it was built about 7 years ago. All use an ESCO to bring better efficiencies in our HVAC systems. A lot of the low-hanging fruit for ESCOs have been done over the last 20 years because those pay back quickly, right?
Yeah.
Lighting, water, major infrastructure things. The idea of this is really strong, and I'm supportive of this. We're getting ready to put a Tesla roof on Vans Isle. Once again, a short payback relative to about 8 years. Those kind of innovations need these kind of attention things, but you're missing probably some of the past history of this. And talk to Casey Lauer, AVP for facilities. He would be your best beginning effort of what we've done in the past and maybe what we could do in the future.
Yeah, I have a meeting planned with him. When I was working with the members of administration and organizations that I was talking to, I had the impression that a lot of the ESCO requirements or ESCO proposals simply weren't done because of a lack of immediate funding in the moment. Do you know like how much of the ESCO's work has been properly enacted?
Millions and millions and millions of dollars have been spent over the last 20 years. Part of this was in the energy crunch of 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It was a quick payback on some of those easy things, lights, water, some of the major infrastructure. Things that we're talking about now are less profitable to do the infrastructure changes and see the quick payback. And so things like elevator systems, that would save some money. The payback is like 30 years. And so you do it, but you're gonna pay for it over a long period of time, and you all won't see that long-term investment. But you're in the right ballgame of making behavior changes, thinking about what can students do to advocate for that kind of stuff, simple stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm supportive of the idea of engagement. Just know that there's a long history of it, and a lot of the simple, they call it low-hanging fruits, have already been picked.
Yeah, and again, to clarify for the chamber, I will be meeting with Casey Lauer to find out exactly how much of that's been reached. It's entirely possible that we're going to investigate this and realize that there's not a reasonable path for this specific resource at K-State to be used. And then if it happens, it happens. But the point of this resolution is to determine if the chamber is interested in advocating for sustainability work on its own.
Caucus Leader Black.
Why do you find it necessary to pass the resolution before you have these conversations?
For the same reason I did on the last two, is because I keep meeting with other like lower ranking administration, and they keep telling me, hey, prove to me that you have some kind of student engagement for this. And so I keep coming back to you guys and throwing up resolutions.
Are there any further questions or corrections for the author on Resolution 52? Senator Carton.
What level, and I may have a follow-up, what level are you wanting to go to for a net zero emission campus?
I don't, to be honest, the net zero thing is a buzzword. I'm only interested in sustainability actions if they can be done profitably. I want to raise the university's bottom line and lower costs for students. And if that's incompatible with net zero, then net zero is not an objective I'm going to be pursuing.
Okay, seeing as yes, Senator Kermer.
Have you talked to Andrew Navarro about his sustainability initiative from last year?
Yes, I have. I was working with him quite closely, and through him, I managed to find a committee, which I already mentioned, which was a bunch of essentially random actors from various student organizations and from facilities members on individual buildings like Hale. They're not particularly focused towards any concrete sustainability objectives, any actual policy proposals. So that didn't go where I really wanted it to go.
Any further questions? Caucus Leader Moltz.
Are you aware that some of the members of the Sustainability Committee include the co-chair of the Director of Engineering Extension, the Associate Professor of Textiles and Human Ecology, the Director of Facilities, the Director of Sustainability, and so forth?
I would really like to know where I can find this committee. I have not been able to do so. I've attempted to interact with various resources on campus. I just can't find a unified effort for this.
Do you have a follow-up?
May I
Go for it.
give resource? If you look up K-State Sustainability Committee, it's the first thing that pops up.
Thank you.
Chair Lilly, do you have a question?
Yeah, so if there's a body at K-State that deals with sustainability already, and you're worried that it can't get on their agenda, then who is this going to go to?
My plan was to work with the Division of Facilities. There's a reason that I have not been working with all the committees. I want to go to facilities and I want to say, hey, do you think do you think there's actually a reasonable place for you guys to look at small scale utility improvements and stuff? I wanted to go directly to the source. I didn't want to cut through a bunch of committees when I can just get the people that I know in contact with the people that are actually making decisions and determining the plausibility of these policies.
Are there any further questions?
I understand it's, offensive to the bureaucracy that I'm not going through the committees, but I'm really trying to make sure that what I can't fix myself, I can get other people in contact so they can fix it properly.
Any further questions or corrections on Resolution 52? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Okay, with that, we will now go into, do you have a motion, Caucus Leader Maltz? Okay, with that, we will now go into second open period. Are there any further second, Caucus Leader Maltz?
On a slightly lighter note, I just wanted to let you guys know, myself and a few other senators today attended our first meeting for the Student Health and Advisory Committee. It's really exciting. We've got some great things planned with Director Biggs already. I think we're going to see some really big momentum. Now, I'm up here. I have been given the position of program coordinator, and that means I'm kind of going to work really heavily on putting those events together. We all have the ideas. We all work on it, but I'll make sure, everything's set up for it. That being said, I know if you might have had interest in this committee and didn't have time for it, so I wanted to propose to you guys, we're going to try and have quite a few events this year. So if you're interested in volunteering for one of these events or helping out with one-off every now and then, please reach out to me. I'll say this now, and as those events come up, I'll make sure that someone on the committee, if Director Biggs doesn't do it himself, let you guys know. But we really would appreciate all of Senate's support and activity in this. So thank you.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Senator Shirkey.
No, I don't have a question. I have a motion after him.
Okay, shoot.
I'm so sorry. I missed the move from introduction to second open period. I'd like to special order Resolution 52, and I failed to make the proper motion.
Objection.
Okay, you can at any time motion to special order, so it is allowed. Is there a second on the motion to special order Resolution 52? Okay, there's not a second. So we will continue in second open period. Legislative Director Talbert.
I just wanted to thank everyone who was able to make it tonight to the Joint City Commission SGA meeting. I think it was a good first step in continuing our town-gown relationships. It's honestly crazy to think about all the different universities that Princeton reviews every time they do their review process, and it's crazy to think that we are number 2 in the nation when it comes to our relationship with town-gowns. With that said, the whole point of this meeting was to start a conversation and create this event that we could hopefully have every year now. But the bigger goal is that I wanted to talk a little bit to you guys and see if anyone's interested, please reach out to me. But the idea is that we are going to write a resolution that we'll pass here in Senate, talking about shared things that we value as the student body with our city, and then we'll pass a resolution here, and then the City Commission will pass a mirrored piece of legislation on the city level, saying that the city has these shared values with the student body. This is modeled after Iowa State, and it's like one of their most successful events that they have at their university. It makes the news on the city level, but also on the national level sometimes. So if you're interested in being part of that process, please let me know. But yeah.
Senator Griffith.
So you said that we were number 2 in our relations. Who's number 1, and who do we have to be for next year?
I don't know. Derek, do you know?
No, good question.
I know that, I don't know. I would want to say maybe Clemson. They were like, nationally, they're known pretty well for their town gown relations. I think they're the ones who started the National Town Gown Association. I could be wrong, though. But I'm not sure. But I definitely think, like, the thing that also makes us really unique as a city when it comes to our town gown relationship is we have a military base relatively near to our community. Just a quick fun story that I heard that I think just shows the uniqueness of our town. On Town Gown last year, they talked about how the military base gets like charged off the kazoo for salt when it comes wintertime. So there's a partnership with our university and the city where the city buys the salt for the military base and the city, and then the military base keeps all the salt on their property because they have the space for it. But those small things are what, makes our community so special.
Chair Lee.
To answer the previous question, off of Google search, the #1 is the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis.
See, I don't know if we're going to beat them, but give them a fighting chance.
Is there any further questions or corrections? Or what am I saying? Are there any further questions for the director? Okay, seeing none, are there any further second open period speakers? Senator Hannah.
One of those nights. All right, y'all. I'll try to make this quick. I'm tired, obviously. So some concerns have been brought up recently as to moving towards like a Microsoft Teams or some kind of unified way of keeping track of legislation and kind of handling like amendments and changes. That's currently in development. I think I have something prototype-wise that's fairly good. So coming out of break, we should hope to see something like that being implemented. Two quick things from y'all. First, if you'd like to see certain features implemented, so if you're a committee chair, that sort of thing, and you want to see certain things from it, please reach out to me and talk to me. I'd love to work with you guys as to make this as best as we possibly can. And then secondly, if you're curious and want to learn, want to help out in any way, also feel free to reach out. I'm pretty easy to find. I'm around. So, field questions.
Parliamentarian Blood.
No, I don't have a question.
Okay. Senator Griffith.
Under this hypothetical teams that may or may not be happening soon, would the submission of new legislation still go through Org Central, or would it be routed through the new team?
So the way I see it is that if we're gonna move partially to like kind of try to make this easier, we should go all the way and basically be fully centered around teams. A lot of our university is kind of leaning towards that way anyway, and I still think that it is very easy to essentially mirror what we have on teams directly to Org Central, so there's not any conflict as far as that goes.
I'll clarify. There is no official decision that has been made about this. And this is one idea of many ideas that we are looking at. And so if we update systems, it will take a while because we have many documents and it will take many people. So do not expect to come back from break and we have something totally new. So just saying that, Chair Lilly.
If we do end up switching, there will be like weeks and weeks of overlap where I will just grab legislation from both places. So like we don't need to.
Yeah, the point of this wasn't to like try to basically say we're doing this. I just think that there's been a lot of infighting is a word to use as far as who is amending what and like where legislation is, and moving to a unified system that is used like enterprise level is a way to fix this and to get rid of those issues and make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
Okay, Elections Commissioner Kermer.
Can you give a specific example as to a piece of legislation that was struggling with the use of Org Central?
Yeah, so the way Org Central works as far as making changes, when you go to like look at a piece of legislation, you download it to your own computer, right? So any amendments or changes made in committee, therefore you have to essentially either overwrite what's already on Org Central, which I don't think most people can do, or send it through an email to send it through email to the Speaker of the Pro Tem, which has led to issues. It would be untrue to say otherwise, at least from my perspective. So to essentially make this to make this something where these edits would be one-to-one real time and everybody can see them as they're happening, that would get rid of some of those concerns and basically take a load off of those people from having to essentially keep maintaining this system unnecessarily.
Congressman Black.
So one question I guess I have, and it might not seem like a question, but like with Teams or like Google Docs, say I open a document and I start typing, it changes like the main document, right? How do you control who has access to edit?
Yeah, so there's permissions that can be set up, and that is something that I've figured out a very easy and working solution to. So essentially that once something is put from committee to basically be heard in Senate, that unless you have said permissions, you're not able to make those edits. So, and all of those edits would also be very easily seen through version history. So, you know, if somebody is being a bad actor and change that, that's not a hard thing to find and figure out. I don't expect that to be a problem, though.
Senator Zago.
Do you anticipate that just being more work on the Pro Tem and the people that do have to maintain the documents if they're having to go through the version history and seeing who made which edits?
No, so that would only be in the case of like if somebody was going and, for lack of a better word, griefing the documents. Once something is basically moved out of committee and put into one of the places where people don't have those edit permission, not to get overly technical, that wouldn't be a problem at all. No, it would be a very simple move and then forget type situation.
Caucus Leader Kidd.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing this to the body. This is my first time hearing more about this. So from the context of what you've shared, it's been mainly about the process of legislation, but have there been other conversations over like the messaging side of Teams versus us having separate systems for me on Work Central?
Yeah, so that was something that I've considered. I haven't had a lot of conversations with committee chairs, but there is significant features in place as far as reaching out to committee members and essentially for announcements and that sort of thing, which would
time for
again,
questions has
unify
expired.
Okay, sure.
Senator Shirkey.
I move to extend the time for questions by.
I object.
Is there a second? Okay, it has been moved, seconded, and objected to extend the speaker's time. Okay, great. So we'll now take a hand vote on whether or not to extend the time for questionings. Yeah. So please raise your placards now. Proxies raised too if you are in favor of extending the speaker's time for questioning. Okay, the motion fails.
Come speak to me if you have questions.
Chair Lee.
All right, I'll try to make this quick. I got stuck talking to two commissioners, so I didn't get a chance to talk about the DPF update.
You have a clicker.
Oh, I do. Do I?
If this works.
So, give you a little update. So, since we're heading up at the end of the year, thought it would be good to tell you where we're at with DPF. This is what DPF is. If you didn't know, it's on the website. You can read about it more. We've reviewed so far. We got 22 submissions today. We're reviewing 2 next week. Unfortunately, during Dead Week, we have accepted 11 and denied 9. What?
Over break or?
No. Sorry, not over break. The week after. Sorry, guys. Here's what we're looking at. So far, we've allocated about $33,000 out of our budget. Here's some of the groups we've allocated money to. I'm not going to read them all to you, but you can feel free to take a picture if you want. This is the money. On the side, we've been working on some other stuff. You see Daniel's bill that he introduced. We had a group of folks working with Daniel to get that where it is now. We're going to continue working that bill to make sure that it's good to go. And then we're tabling in the spring semester. we're getting our committee members to table for SGA. Again, DIB is the outward-facing committee of the group, and so it's our responsibility to get the information out there. We take it upon ourselves to get it out there and be more engaged with the community, and so we're going to table in the spring semester. But yeah, that's basically it. Any questions?
Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, are there any further? Second, Senator Griffith.
I'm just going to come here and quickly talk about Game Lab. Sure, many of you guys here like board games, and I know many of you here like science. What if you combined board games and science together? That's what you get is Game Lab. Game Lab is a system run by the College of Education right here about studying the scientific impact of games, and there's always just a time to have some fun playing. Personally, I've been participating in a group of games every Tuesday to play Blood on the Clock Tower. It is a very fun game. If you want to know about it, you can come talk to me after. It is so much fun. I'd always recommend it. But at Game Lab, we're always willing to have more and more people come. You can email me, and give you the contact information of the President New League, Dr. League Teague. So yeah, Game Lab is fun.
Any questions? Okay, seeing none, are there any further second open period speakers? Okay, seeing none, we will go into reference of legislation. Bill 50 will be referred to the DEIB committee, and Resolution 52 will be referred to the Strategic Oversight Committee. With that, Speaker Pro Tem Heseltine will take it away with Senate shoutouts.
Okay, sorry. I'm trying to find them. Here they are. There's 47. Okay. Shout out to Parliamentarian Blood. Should have started the meeting at 7. Who knows what shenanigans we could have pulled without Carson and Alexa. It would have been great. Shout out to Alexa being the entire head of SGA. Shout out to Carson for slacking. Shout out to Carson leaving Alexa out to dry. Shout out to Alexa for trying her best. I was trying. Shout out to Captain Lilly for reading the wrong agenda and planning his night around it. Whoops, dismissed. Shout out to forgetting your placard only to go back up there. Shout out to Girlhood. Shout out to Sisters Before Misters. Shout out to being here when we could be watching Wicked. Shout out to Pro Tem Heseltine for doing an incredible job chairing almost half the meeting, a true speaker in the making. Shout out to Alexa for being the speaker and the Pro Tem tonight. She is really a single mom who works 2 jobs. She loves her kids and never stops. She's a steady hand and the eye of the tiger. Yeah, she's a survivor. Shout out Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for a break from school. Shout out to saving time by unanimous consent. Shout out to rizzing in Senate. Shout out to possible flirting between senators. Shout out to Cabinet taking up former Ag Row. Shout out to Amy struggling to use Zoom. Shout out to What. Shout out to Amy being the true goat of Senate. Shout out to letting Amy be a yapper. Shout out to What again. Shout out to tonight Senate running on Dream Logic, who spiked the brownies at the joint Senate session. Shout out to Unfriendly Friendly Amendments. Shout out to VP O'Malley, who truly misses us in Senate. Shout out to the challenging the decision of the chair, perfect twist for the mid-season hour-long special. Shout out to Open House for the community. Everyone is acting like they have the Zoomies tonight. Shout out to Senator Jack O'Malley. Brian, you cooked. Brian ate and left no crumbs. Shout out to, I think, a previous speaker. Evelyn, you look cute today. Love that top. Shout out to Jack's missing placard. Shout out to needing a drink after Senate. Shout out to objection. Shout out to not knowing how to spell your own name. Break. See you all in the spring semester. Shout out to ethics disclosure, not being paid off by your employer. Shout out to corporate sponsors. Shout out to the members of the Shack. Y'all are the coolest. Shout out to tonight being the Philip Shirky, Gavin Shrunk, and Brian Blood show. And shout out to Game Lab.
Okay, with that, we will now go into our second roll call.
Alvarez. Here. Bailey. Here. Black. Here. Blood. Here. Brugan. Byers. Here. Casement. Here. Koch. Here. Cox.
Here.
Ediger.
Here.
Glasscock. Hassan Shakib. Griffith.
I'm here.
I know, I read it backwards, sorry, it's been a long night. But Hassan Shakib, I don't think is, yeah. Hannah.
Here.
Hoffman. Holmes.
Here.
Holzmeister.
Here.
Islam. Jacobson, Madeline.
Here.
Jonak.
Here.
Carton.
Here.
Keene. Kidd.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Lilly.
Here.
McCullough. Moltz.
Here.
Morris.
Here.
Nagai Velasquez.
Here.
Otto.
Here.
Owen.
Here.
Peterson. Palenko.
Here.
Cray. Robbie. Rafferty.
Here.
Richenberg.
Here.
Shaw Savari.
Here.
Shirky.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Strunk.
Here.
Uphouse.
Here.
Weaver. And Zacco.
Here.
Senator Griffith.
I move to adjourn until the 30th of January, 2025. Same time, same place.
Second.
What was the date again?
January 30th, 2025.
Okay, excellent. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. Is there an objection? We stand adjourned.
One of our